The order of the books in the Protestant Bible. The Old Testament is made up of 4 groups of books that are: first group, Pentateuch or Torah. They are composed of the first 5 books Bible. Are they? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Second group, historical books. This group of books consists of 12 books that tell the whole story of Israel from the entrance to the conquest of the promised Canaan. Are they? Hosea, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther. Third group, books poetic. It consists of 5 books, which are written as songs or poetry literature. Are they? Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song. Fourth group, the largest prophets. There are 5 books that tell the story of the prophets who prophesied more in Israel's history. They are displayed in order of relevance and not in chronological. Are they? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel, Daniel. Fifth group, minor prophets. This is the last group of Old Testament books and is divided into 12 books that tell the history and ministries of 12 great prophets of Israel: Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonas, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. The organization of the New Testament. The New Testament consists of 4 groups of books that are: first group, the Gospels. It consists of 4 books that narrate the passage of Jesus on earth, from his birth, work, ministry, redemption until his ascension into heaven. Are they? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Second group, history. It consists of only a book that tells the story of the apostles and the establishment of the first Christian church on earth, the early church. It's him. Apostles X. Third group, tablets or letters. Letters are written by the apostles and directed the churches of various cities, nations, and continents of the earth. They are a total of 21 letters, 13 written by the Apostle Paul and 8 written by several authors. These books are arranged in chronological order, and the first 13 are the Apostle Paul. Are they? Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon. Following is the other 8 are from various authors. That are: Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd and 3rd John, Jude. Fourth group, Revelation or Apocalypse. This group consists of only a book that brings the revelation of the last church events here on earth. It's him. Revelation. Writing valuable. Copies of the original manuscripts of the Bible are stored in the library of the University of Cambridge in England. The Nash Papyrus is a true archaeological treasure. Acquired Egypt in 1902 by Walter Llewellyn Nash, consists of 4 which together fragments reveal lines 24 handwritten where the 10 Commandments and appear a few lines of Deuteronomy. The language used is the ancient Hebrew text and does not have vowels. Although small in size, consists of only 1 sheet of papyrus, its importance is huge, dating from the 2nd century BC, making it one of the oldest manuscripts of the Bible. Texts such as the Nash Papyrus are precious clues for archaeologists, theologians, and historians seeking to unravel the mysteries on the composition of the Bible. The analysis of this material allows an approximation of the original content of the Holy Scriptures, as the first Hebrew texts did not resist the time. In addition, the manuscripts reveal interesting facts, such as the methods of writing and the context in which they arose. It is known, for example, that the oldest biblical texts were written by brush and pen, first on papyrus scrolls and then on parchment. The papyrus sheets were made of a very common plant in Egypt, called Cyperus papyrus, but because they are weak, few came to today. Since the scrolls were made of animal leather like sheep, and resisted any longer, the papyrus, in theory, give access to copies more faithful to the original texts. However, the fragility of the material, they are composed of thousands of fragments, some confetti size. It is the case of Papyrus Bodmer, the end of the 2nd century, where the Gospel of John almost entirely, and this is already something spectacular, says theologian Peter Lima Vasconcelos, the PUC of São Paulo. The researchers also found that the papyrus, and fragile, it was cheaper than parchment, which would explain why the Christians were slow to use the second material in his writings. In the first centuries, when Christianity was a religion of marginalized groups, there was a predominance of papyrus texts. Only when religion was accepted by the Roman Empire in the 4th century, the parchment started to be adopted, says Peter. The most famous set of papyrus and biblical scrolls was discovered in 1946 in 11 caves in the Qumran region in Israel. Dubbed the Dead Sea Scrolls, most have been written between the ages 3 BC and 1 AD. Currently exhibited in the Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem, they contain some of the earliest texts of Scripture that we know of. But they are not the only ones considered valuable by the experts. Over time, papyrus scrolls and the parchment began to be replaced by the codex, or codex, a kind of archaic book, whose leaves were overlapped and sewn one of the banks. This is the format of other major archaeological finds, such as the Codex Sinaiticus, discovered in 1844 in the monastery of Santa Caterina, near Mount Sinai in Egypt, and the Vatican Codex, located in the 15th century, in a forgotten corner of the Vatican Library. Written in Greek in the 4th century, both contain both the New and the Old Testament, although some parts are missing. The Holy Manuscript Ephraim, also called rewritten St. Ephraim, is an equally important codex, mainly for technical use. Copyists employed a process known as palimpsest, from the Greek scraped again, which consisted of shaving or washing the parchment and use it again. Tests with infrared light revealed that the text had been copied in the 4th century, shaved 200 years later and later replaced by Santo Ephraim's sermons. Religious who lived in Syria in the 4th century is currently exhibited at the National Library in Paris. Vulgate, translation of the Bible into Latin made by Saint Jerome in the 5th century, left over thousands of manuscripts. There are more than 8,000. The previous most to the 12th century's most ancient and complete is the Codex Amiatinus, now stored in Laurentiana Library in Florence, Italy. It was written by several hands in medieval calligraphy. Some estimate that your writing has consumed skins of more than 500 sheep. Unlike the Nash papyrus, this has size and weight proportional to their importance. They are 20-60 pages and over 66,1 pounds.